Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently late on this video, and I apologize for that one. We had a winter storm here, and power was out for about 9 hours, so that delayed production of this episode, unfortunately, but here we are, and I figured out how I want to bring this guy in. So I switched over to controlling from this Probodobodyne Octo, which actually makes it so that our thud is moving along with our wheels correctly. So that should be great. All we have to do is throttle up and push ourselves forward like this-ish and kind of power slide across the terrain. That's not really what I want to do right now, though. What we want to do is just move on forward here, and just burning fuel here is completely fine. So let's get a little bit more thrust here. And let's turn our brakes off. That would help a lot. There we go. Brakes off, and now we can see we're starting to head forward just slightly. Very, very slightly here. We're going to set the Clampotron docking port as our target, but since we have to control from here for now, that is what it is. Now, I'm going to try to rotate using our reaction wheels here. That seems to be pushing us back down the hill. Okay. I brought us up to full thrust here. 0.73 thrust to weight ratio. We're gimbaled and pushing us up the hill. If we could rotate these, that would make things so much easier. But unfortunately, we just can't do that. So we're going to make our way up the hill here. We may end up destroying these solar panels. We can repair those if need be. I'm going to go ahead and retract these Gigantors here. Get them a little bit more out of the way. And we're going to attempt to turn this direction. Now, turning is kind of inverted from what we would expect. But we're just power sliding across the terrain here. Cool. I'm going to turn off our engines for the moment. And brakes on. Okay. We'll hold here for a bit. And now we need to go just directly forward for a little while here. Okay. So let's go. We're going to push on forward here. Very gently creeping. And then we're going to need to turn... Oh, did we just get stuck on something? It's like we're bumping into something here. The flag. We're bumping into the flag. Okay. That's exciting. Let's see about bringing it around this direction and bypassing the flag. We could remove the flag. That's a potential option, but we'll just power slide on over here. Cool. And we'll look to kill that power slide. There we go. And push our way forward, going up past the flag, ideally. Cool. Now, if we were to try to spin in place, that's functionally going to be our roll is going to functionally be our steering for right now. So we're just working our way through here, inching along. It's very clear that 3 wheels is the way to go in the future. So I'm thinking we'll be looking for that, and we'll probably go down from having like 6 of these down to having like 8. Okay. So we're just rotating it on over here until we are approximately lined up. We're losing a little bit of ground to the gravity here, but that's because we're putting in a lot of force into our roll. And let's just go ahead and brakes on. And we're looking to cut this speed. 2, 1. Okay. We're power sliding the wrong way. So let's get our power slide going the other direction here. Beautiful. This is not the cleanest way to go in. That's for sure. Okay. So we're just power sliding here, and now we're rolling, and we're looking to go forward. Beautiful. So we're just sliding around here, and an autosave comes in. That might be for the best. Okay. Cutting off that roll there. We're power sliding over too far. I do not want to impact that flag, so we're just bringing it on in here. This is so awkward. But it should work. This should, in theory, be fine. We impacted the flag there. I'm just trying to cut our power slide velocity a bit. And let's move it forward, power sliding a little bit. We have to functionally treat this like it's in vacuum, which is a little strange. But there we go. Okay. And bringing it over. Cool. Yeah, functionally, this is like it's in vacuum, which is wild. Okay, we're overshooting here. Okay. And we're docked. I didn't actually expect that to work. I expected us to bounce off there. Brakes on. Absolutely brakes on. Wow. I can't believe that worked. That is insane. So we need to get our Kerbals back inside, of course. They were out here to help get that set up, but we're going to bring them back. We're going to try not to impact these Gigantors. If we do, we can repair them. Cool. So we're just going to have Kenkin pop in, like, over here. We don't really care where Kenkin is. So he can grab on here and just hop in. Beautiful. Lenbert, why don't you go ahead and grab that surface sample? And then we're going to leap up. Funnily enough, Lenbert has access to a KER. Awkward. Okay. So we're just going to go in here, and we're looking to put Lenbert back into the mobile processing lab. So in we go. We'll board, and then we'll need to transfer Lenbert over to the mobile processing lab, which is, of course, over on this side. There we go. So that is all of that good to go. Now, of course, this is a little bit awkward in its positioning, and we probably do want to end up moving these Gigantors, but I think they'll be fine for now. There we go. And I would like to put these struts on. So let's have Lenbert go ahead and EVA. Wait, did we just put Lenbert in the mobile processing lab? We did. Okay, it's supposed to be Kenkin in the mobile processing lab. So we'll transfer that crew on out to here. And then, let's see here. Where is Kenkin at? Should be up here. That's Lenbert. Kenkin. Okay. So Kenkin is going to, not EVA, we're going to transfer over to there. Beautiful. And we're going to work on that. But of course, our research is inactive here. We're going to start our research, and we're going to look to transmit this science. We should, I think, have plenty of power for that. Oh yeah, we're fine on power. So that's fantastic. We'll get that underway. Lenbert is now going to EVA, and we're just going to climb directly down. And I'm hoping that we're close enough to grab this back here. Let's see. Not quite. Okay, go ahead and let go. And we broke these two Gigantors. We can repair them. That was definitely not what I was intending to do, but it's fine. Okay, so now we can grab these. And we're just going to link up like... Not like that. That did not go. There we go. Cool. And we'll just get that all done-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect, but better than that for sure. There we go. One over on this side, and apparently we broke 3 Gigantors. I don't know if we have enough to repair all of that. That's exciting stuff. I don't know how this one must have gotten broken by the debris, but that's fine. We have repair modules, and we can get some of that fixed. So this one is just going to connect in something kind of like that. Sure, that'll do. Okay, so 4 repair kits required, and where do we have our EVA repair kits stored at? I don't actually know. Let's find out. So back into the colony, and we're checking here. Okay, we have enough to repair 2 of these Gigantors. We're going to have to bring up more repair kits eventually. And I'm going to store those somewhere. Yeah, let's pin this open, and we're going to move those over here. Cool. Kenkin was a little bit clumsy there, no doubt about it, but we can get that repaired. And we're probably going to want to end up moving these as well. But for now, this will be fine. So back to Kenkin here. Or rather, Lenbert. Back to Lenbert. We are going to head over here. And we're going to grab some of these repair kits. Cool. So we can carry... looks like 4. Beautiful. I'm going to repair this one here, this Gigantor. And then we're going to grab these 4 as well. And for the moment, we'll leave this top one as unrepaired. So we'll just hop on over and repair that. Beautiful. Okay, so this one, we don't have the repair kits to repair that at this time. Unless we brought some in the habitation module. I don't think we did. Are these struts? What are these? Yeah, those are struts. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, that seems fine. So, that's okay. We managed to get these done. And now we're going to have Lenbert EVA. And we're going to head back in, hopefully without destroying additional Gigantors. We'll grab onto that and store our parachute. And we'll just hop on in here. Cool. So Lenbert goes in, and that is fine. So we only lost 1 Gigantor there. I like it. We'll extend these out. I'm not expecting these to be super efficient in this position, but we'll probably change where those are later, or say this is good enough. That might be the case too. So we were able, I believe, to transmit all of that science. Yes, indeed. So that's great. Looks like we've got plenty of data in there, and apparently OBS hasn't realized, or rather, Discord hasn't realized OBS is open. That's exciting. Well, sure. I guess you're going to know when I hit my mute button now. Fantastic. And at this point, all we need to do is bring in our mining module. So that's great. We're going to hop on back to the Space Center here. We're going to want to stuff this up with some repair kits as well. So we'll have to remember that. And lessons learned, indeed, on the landing wheels. Lessons have been learned. Okay, so we're going to hop on in here to the VAB, and we're going to design ourselves... Oh, okay. We're going to hop into the VAB. It's very dark, but in the VAB we have lights, and that should be fine. We're going to design ourselves a mining and processing module here. So we're going to load up our colony power module, and we're going to base it off of this. So first things first, we're going to ditch everything here. Second thing second, we're going to get rid of these thuds. There we go. And we are going to replace those with, I think, quad twitches. So for the time being, oh, that was not what I wanted to duplicate. For the time being, we'll just do something like that. And then we will place these over here as well. I don't care about the directionality at this exact moment. And then something kind of like that. Okay. So we'll snap those into position in a bit. In fact, we could do that right now before I forget. So we'll snap that in there, and then this goes in there. Cool. Then, of course, we're going to need to rotate these. So let's get those rotated on over. There we go. And we'll need to snap them in place as well. Cool. And I want them to be, honestly, maybe on like either end of this tank. Kind of like that. That should, in theory, do. Do we have the thrust to weight here? Is my main question. So this is over Kerbal. We need to go to the moon. 1.66 thrust to weight. That's kind of low. We could increase our number of twitches. And they're also very loud. Let's see. 16 kilonewtons of thrust. I would like to have something that's slightly more powerful. We could go with Vernier engines. That is like double the strength. But I think that's overkill. I mean, 2 thuds was obviously overkill. We could go with RV1s. I feel like 4 of those is certainly overkill. It would be twice as much thrust to weight as we have right now, but maybe that's okay. So we ditch the twitches, and hopefully this will be a little quieter, because those thuds, or rather those twitches, are extraordinarily loud. So that wouldn't be the worst thing. I'm just trying to find the correct rotation. There we go. And we'll snap that into position in a bit. So we get rid of that, and then get rid of these over here, and we duplicate the cubs, rotate them around like that, and then snap them into place. Okay, there, and in theory, we'd want it like here. Yes. Okay, so that gets snapped in there, and then up here. Okay, so, of course, this is not the final module that we're going to want to bring. Oh man, hang on, I'm just going to mute Discord in the Windows sound mixer here for a moment. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, Discord has been muted, and now I can mute and unmute without that annoying sound playing. Beautiful. Okay, so this is obviously like an upgraded power module, right? That's not necessarily what we want. So we're going to need to take these reaction wheels off. That will remain virtually the same. So this reaction wheel comes off here. And then we're going to need to ditch that. For the moment, we'll get rid of those. Cool. And then we'll get rid of these batteries and gigantors. Those are not needed. Let's see here. The Vernier engine can actually remain. As can this guy, which we would want snapped into place, basically dead center. Cool. And was this one snapped in? I believe it was. But those can all remain. So from here, we remove this section. And then we remove, not the reaction wheel, but everything up here. Like that. Okay, this is what we're going to start with. And this is a mining/processing module. So there's a few things that we need. We need a holding tank that is the right radius, which this one would be. It doesn't have to be able to hold a lot. I want to check our contracts here. 1,200 units of fresh ore from Minmus. This would be sufficient. Cool. So that'll be fine. We're going to need a convertatron on here. So a convertatron 250. The question is, where do we put this? What is the mass of the large holding tank compared to the convertatron? So this mass is 2 tons. The convertatron is 4.25 tons. So we're going to have to make a few alterations here. These docking ports come off. These strut connectors come off. We need the reaction wheels to be stacked up here to have more weight on this side. And then we would have like the Rocamax. And then the convertatron. This is kind of a long boy. And then the clampatron. Now the question is, where is our center of mass here? Because we need it to be basically right here with this design. So we would look at our center of mass, and actually it's pretty close. We need a little bit more mass up at the top. I'm wondering if we swap the fuel tank and the holding tank. That's way worse. Okay. So we need to pull mass this direction. Actually, yeah, that would be way worse. Pulling mass this direction means, well, first off, we know that we're going to need a couple of extra things. We know we're going to need some sort of thermal control systems. And is a pair of small thermal control systems on here going to be able to cover this? I don't know. We'll find out. I'd like this to be in potentially mirror mode? No. Okay. So we'll just put these in singularly, and we'll have one like here. That did not go where I was telling it to go. Okay. We'll have that go like here, and then a second one like over here, and we'll snap that into position. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. Actually, yeah, lower that down one tick lower. Cool. And then up here is where our mining drills are almost certainly going to be for weight distribution purposes. So those will also need a thermal control system. I'm going to put one here. I'm hoping that that will be enough thermal control on its own. We'll see. And we'll need like some small power generation as well. I'll put that up here as well. It's going to get blocked when we get to our location, but this is mostly for making our way there, right? So we'll place that up over this way for weight distribution purposes, like that. Cool. Okay. So we need more weight up this way, and we know that we're going to have like a pair of Drill-O-Matic mining excavators. And those are going to be like up here. But those are kind of huge. And I can't get them to rotate the way I want to. Let's see here. There we go. Cool. So those would be positioned about like that, although this one would have to be inverted in its directionality. So let's just place this here for the time being. And then this one can go here. Although we're going to need to spin it on around, if I can remember which one spins it the correct direction. Apparently I can't, but it's this one. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll place that in, and we'll drop this about here. I do want to move it potentially... I was thinking about whether we want it up or down, but I'm actually thinking this is such a long boy, we probably want this guy to be placed about here, and then a second one here, and then ideally another one here, and another one about here, right? Something kind of like that. So then we do the same over on this side, positioning this here and here. That was not where I wanted that to go. There we go. We'll snap those into position in a moment. And then this goes up here. Actually, I previously put it about here. Okay. So we're definitely concerned about not having a wheel back here. I would love to. You can't connect onto the Convertitron. But what we could theoretically do is put like a very small and empty fuel tank back here. So that would be something along the lines of this guy. The point behind this is, A, we don't want to shift the weight too much, which this is pretty close to correct. We don't want to shift the weight too much, and we don't want to have too much more weight, right? That's also something that we don't want. So these struts will be done in a moment here. We move this on over like so. Okay. It's very awkward, no doubt about it. It'll be fairly unwieldy. Let's go ahead and snap these into place. And we'll run a few tests on it before we lift this thing off. Okay, so that snaps in there. I do want to check in on our weight distribution and our thrust distribution. So this is our current center of mass. We can definitely grab this guy and move it down ever so slightly, just to be in line with that center of mass. And then let's look at our center of thrust. Okay, so we can see that our center of thrust needs to drop slightly here. So if we were to grab this guy and move it down, we only need to move it down a small amount. So let's snap it there. This might be too much, moving it down one snapped position. I feel like that's about right. Okay, so we're going to need to have these strut connectors on here, but we're not going to have them connect to anything just yet. Just going to be something kind of like that. Now, keep in mind, we don't have any space for repair kits in here, and that's okay. I think I'm not concerned about that. So this tank is empty. This tank is full. We probably don't need it to be quite full, but for the moment, let's go ahead and save this as not the power module, the colony mining module. This is one of the biggest modules, but also kind of the most economically important. So let's go ahead and save that. And let's put this thing out on the pad. We're going to cheat this up into orbit here, just for simulation purposes. And then we're also going to put it on the surface of the moon and make sure that it can rover better than the previous version. Because that thing, it needed more oomph to be able to deal with the moon's gravity. We got there in the end, but it definitely needed more. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this thing up, and we're going to hop down over here. We're going to set orbit above Kerbal. We don't care where that orbit is. Here seems fine. Let's go ahead and flip over to retrograde here. And of course, we are in an awkward directionality here. We want to be, for this point, controlling from here. So we then flip over to retrograde. This looks correct. And let's go ahead and throttle this thing up. So our thrust to weight here is 0.43. Over the moon, we'll have plenty. We're just making sure this is controllable. And it's perfectly stable. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to put this on the surface of the moon. I don't really care where it goes. So we're just, I believe I had this set previously for doing some experimentation with our previous vehicle. I believe I had this set to basically being right next to our existing location. This might break some things. So let's go ahead and set position here. We're going to revert this anyway. So this will be fine, even if it does break things. Oh, this is a really high altitude. Okay. I have no idea where this is. Let's go ahead and just set position here. I don't care about... Okay, we're currently falling in. We're physics easing. Cool. SAS is disengaged right now. I think we ran out of power. Okay, so that didn't really work, obviously. We're going to revert this back to launch here. And I don't really care too much about what we've got going on here. We just need to get this aligned a little bit better, which will be fine. So all we want to do here is test to make sure that we're going to be fine on the location that we're going to be at. So we may as well enable infinite electricity for the purposes of this testing. Oh, this bug is fine, but whatever. We're going to enable infinite electricity for the purposes of this testing. We don't care about that right now. So we then go ahead and set this position here. I'm going to make the altitude be a little bit higher so we have time to orient ourselves, and we'll set that position. And I don't like the position that this is coming in at for testing. So let's just use this time here. Actually, this position is fine. Okay, so let's control from here, and let's rotate this, not that direction. Let's roll it on over like so, and just point to retrograde. We're physics easing right now, so all we need to do is land this, and we don't need to do any burning or anything. This will be absolutely fine. We land this here. Okay, there's a couple of explosions there. I was expecting the physics easing to actually do things. Let's try that again. We'll revert that back to launch. And this time, I'm just going to turn off crash damage. We don't care about the actual landing for purposes of this test. All we want to know is that we can navigate on reasonably inclined terrain. This is just a simulation, and we're going to do the real thing here in a moment and turn off these cheats. So that'll be fine. Any moment now, we'll load on in. There we go. And I'm going to turn on unbreakable joints, no crash damage. We'll hop into set position, and we'll set that position. This is just a simulation. So let's see what the simulation gives us. Okay, control from here. SAS on. Go to retrograde. I don't think it controlled from here. Okay, let's try that again. Beautiful. Control from here. Well, we're in approximately the right orientation, so this is fine. We'll just let this come on in. There we go. Okay, so we're no longer physics easing. Oh, we're actually pretty close to who needs ladders. That's funny. Ooh, that's very, very good on the turning. Very good. Let's turn on our brakes. Okay, so we know that we need to turn our brakes up. But this is much steeper than what we're going to be having, right? So that should be not too big of a concern. We're not going to be landing on anything even close to this steep. But we're not really able to stop this descent here. But it's probably fine. This is quite smooth. Like, let's turn off the brakes. We have unbreakable joints and no crash damage, so I'm not too concerned about it. We'll just bring this on down for now and see what it's like in a more realistic environment, which will be more like what we've got over here. That's like 25 kilometers away, but we're not actually going there. So we're just going to head on through here and hit this flatter portion of the ground. That is our primary goal here. And once we hit this flatter portion of the ground, that'll be great. Okay, this is more realistic here. So obviously we have a lot of momentum here, right? There's no doubt about that. But we are slowing down. Yeah, realistically, I think this is doable. The real question is, can we accelerate back up one of these little hills? So we're just going to start skidding a bit here. And once we come to a halt, which will be in a moment. Oh, I don't want to tip over. Okay, we'll come to a halt here. Beautiful. Let's turn off these cheats before I forget. There we go. And we're just going to do that. Brakes are looking good. Can we make our way up this hill? Even with all of this mass here. Now keep in mind this tank is empty and is primarily just structural, but it'll also be a storage tank later on. Okay, we're struggling a bit up this hill. These do have gimbaling, but I'm not actually seeing them gimbal. Oh, is it because the engines are off? Probably. Oh, we have no probe control. That'll do it. Let's clear that input lock for the moment. We don't care about that for purposes of this test. Brakes on. And let's see about making our way up this hill. We're just barely getting going here. Okay, we can see that these Vernier engines are inverted from each other. So we definitely want to invert that. I want them to be the same as each other. So we're going to go back to the VAB here. We know we have a little bit of work to do, but it's not going to be too much, realistically. So we are going to say that this is pretty good as it is. I would like these to not be inverted from each other. So I'm going to just delete that, bring it up to here, and then snap it into position. Cool. And that should actually be down one snap. There we go. Ditch this, duplicate this, bring it up, and snap that into position. Okay, that should fix our gimbaling problem there. Now, this is a lot of mass to be trying to bring uphill. I'm not shocked about that. But we can do the same sort of technique. So I think this will be okay. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to bring this mining module up to the moon. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods. Oh, actually, I realized we didn't test our heating. We should do that. Not today, though. This video is already late enough. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, just waiting here for it to scroll up because I was in a rush to get this started and didn't actually open my notepad. Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisoul, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.